Do you think that's down to some of the new items? Like, I feel like Tiny has lost a lot of his efficacy because of Fluffy Hat. Like, every support just buys 2 Fluffy Hats, Raindrops 1, and it's like Tiny's useless.
For sure. I think sometimes in Dota it can be really small changes that propel a meta or like some hero forward. And like for example, like you take Void Spirit, if you look at DPC seasons, especially in NA, this hero was first pick, first banned. And all of a sudden at the major, I think it went like 2 and 10 or something, because he is also a burst meta hero. Like Omega Game, they're fully committed. You look at Void Spirit, he can't play long fights. You run out of charges, your spells are sort of awkward to use.
Yeah. Haven't
gonna
seen
say
much Void
playing-
Spirit in this qualifier so far.
Yeah, we saw a fair amount in DPC SA as well, right? Where Puck was always first phase banned, and that opened up the Void Spirit to get first phase picked. But you're picking Void Spirit into Puck here, which seems kind of risky for Omega.
I think that matchup has always been sort of weird, and they both kill each other. I think there's like just like a 3-month period where NA, EU, SA, everyone's just first picking Puck, the other team picks Void Spirit, or they first pick Void Spirit, other team picks Puck. Like, all the mid players are super cocky, and they're like, okay, I can outplay him. And no one really knew which one counter which one more.
The TA
Does it also
again.
move the Tiny? Is that now a Tiny 4 because of the Void Spirit?
I think most likely.
There's a small chance it's a position 3 Void Spirit. I think that's super specialist. I don't know if Omega does that, but small chance.
Yeah, so right now I think most likely it's gonna be TA mid and Puck offlane. But honestly, I had no idea how Infamous were gonna do their lanes last game. It might be sort of they have last pick and their lineup is so flexible that they don't even know their lanes until the very end.
I think that's part of why they like this gyrocopter. Gary, which team was it that we were seeing with the Viper? Was that Panda Boo? Yeah, it was No Ping. That like
Panda Boo, yeah.
same kind of thing where you pick this flex and it could be a 5, it could be a 3. I guess like the Viper, it's more of like an off lane kind of or mid sort of thing, and Gyro's a 1. But it's that same support or core conundrum. And if you're truly that comfortable on the hero in either role, it's such a powerful opener for your draft because you have so much flexibility with 10th pick.
Yeah, I think in general, from second pick, which Infamous are this game, flexing core heroes between core roles is really strong. And from first pick, generally flexing heroes between support and core roles is stronger. You can see in their matchup versus Eagle Boys, like they tried to flex some weird cores there, and they just got smashed in the draft in their game 3. Where they had like the gyrocopter into Snapfire. But I would like them, like when you see a Dusa like this plus burst, you sort of have to make a decision on how you want to play. Like, there are heroes that outscale Medusa now. She's not some end-all be-all carry anymore, especially since her timing's got a lot worse. So you're basically deciding whether you want to out-tempo her with something like a Ursa, or you want to out-carry her with something, even like a Juggernaut can out-carry Dusa now.
But she does still have a pretty good timing in that early mid-game. That is damn scary.
Yeah, she's like a Luna, right? Like, she farms really fast, and I think Luna's probably stronger earlier, but Dusa scales better late. It's not like she's weak late game at all. It's just, you think back to like the old Dota days where Dusa late game literally 1v5'd and was unbeatable. She's not that anymore.
Yeah, totally. That's just start stacking those rapiers. It was a different Dota back then, that's for sure. Sand King now though, still super open-ended. We've seen a lot of Sand King mid in South America, so possible. I think it's pretty bad. I'm a hater. That's one of my least favorite things that we see regularly, but they might just do it.
Most
More
likely the
likely
Void
to.
Spirit's mid, but if they see like a really good matchup for their heroes, then they can flex as well. It is sort of nice to have that from first pick, just so that you're not like locked into lane counters. Because if they put TA versus Void Spirit, I think you'd rather have Sand King there.
And they go for
Super nice to have Sand King against TA Puck as well, that instant stun to catch out the Puck.
Wow. So they're doing it again. It's another position 1 TA, another position 5 gyrocopter, and it will be Faker or KXY on the Puck headed mid. So on the Omega side, Jamari, he's going to take the Void Spirit mid. So we'll get Puck versus Void Spirit.
Classic.
Okay.
I think this game, Infamous is on a lot more of a timer than last game. Like last game, they had better lanes and they had sort of better scale. I mean, like 70 minutes maybe you lose, but for most of the game you'll win. This game's different. If Dusa hits her items, she will destroy these heroes in team fights. Like they don't have anything that's really good versus her later.
All right,
Basically kill everyone else, leave the Medusa to survive. destroy the rest of the team in the fight.
I think a lot of Infamous's plan relies on this Enchantress centaur lane dumpstering the Dusa, which I think is very possible. I think Omega should look to rotate their Tiny in towards bottom pretty early and sort of do a pseudo tri-lane after you secure Sand King a bit of levels.
Big fan of these Enchantress cosmetics as well. When we load into this game, you'll definitely want to get a close-up of that one. I don't know if these are new with the Battle Pass or I'm just out of the loop, but my gosh.
We can do it during
like
the pause.
Engine, yeah, there you go, perfect. It's like Engine, Nature's Prophet have been combined here. It's, man, cosmetics game has just gotten too much for me. But I love the Engine pick like
glance
this.
value.
Yeah, you mentioned it against the Grimstroke, Gary. Also a great lane dominator. Pairs well with the Centaur, right? We've talked even earlier about how Centaur struggles to close the gap. Well, guess what? A slow from the Enchantress will make it a little bit easier for the Centaur to get in to where he needs to be. We actually don't have a pause here for game number 2, so maybe an Omen will have another fast game. Gentlemen, take her away.
Thank you, Zayori. Yeah, see you in a little bit as we get ourselves into game 2. Now, this Enchantress that Zayori is mentioning paired up with the Centaur, I mean, it gives you tower push as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think Enchantress has just a super free game. No one really contests around the map. You need both the supports together in order to put any sort of pressure on her, which is why I do want to see Demon sort of rotate to top lane really early. But yeah, I'm sort of interested to see how this will come out. They definitely need to snowball. Look at Parker. He's melted in place in lane, and he's hoping Sand King will walk up and he'll just double melt him for minus 10 armor and sort of like win the wave when he tries to caustic though. This is a cool idea.
Yeah, just punch him. Ah, that's really clever.
I mean, if you get that double melt off, you will do like 400 or 500 damage for free instantly. Maybe even kill him with a homing missile.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, looking at this offlane from Omega, like Sand King is a hero I very often worry about in terms of the first 3 levels. There, we've got the pause at long last. Expected.
I was panicking for a bit. Didn't know what to do without a pause. Sorry, what were you saying about Sand King?
Like, I don't know, from what we saw in SA DPC, when Sand King's put in the offlane, if his first if he dies in the first 3 levels, once or twice, it feels like his game is like just over. He's forced to go Tranquil Boots. He's forced to just keep like hiding in the trees or trying to Sandstorm and get towards Blink Dagger. And then if his Blink Dagger doesn't work, he's even more useless.
Yeah, I think Sand King's a really easy hero to just sort of become a support on from the offlane. And I think the reason he's like that is his starting stats are just so bad. Like all the other offlaners have such good stats, and Sand King has 50 base damage and 2 armor.
Yeah, it's not great.
I like this ward, by the way, from Infamous on the bottom rune. I placed this one on a lot of my pubs. I think it's very hard to deward. And it also gives you a little bit of vision up the hill, just so that you can know for the rune fight. A lot of teams like camp their heroes on that hill, right? Prepare for the runes.
I don't think I've seen that ward get dewarded once. Like we've seen it plenty of times, but no one ever goes for the sentry.
And look at this bottom. I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah, there's Parker.
He's not in range.
Come on, he will be in a second. Come here. Come on, Lissax. They're probably wondering, like, where the hell is this TA? What's going on?
He's getting hit by caustic.
Well, they're going to force them in with a homing missile. Goes for the 1 meld hit. Demon. Oh, that damage. Oh, they forced the Tiny away.
TA versus Tiny in lane is terrifying for Tiny. You have -5 armor for 12 seconds.
Man. Fortunate he's got boots. Yeah, going caustic level 1. So no Sandstorm. Lissax is also going to suffer from Axel just chasing him down, doing the exact same job he did last time, running at 2 heroes and winning that lane on his own.
Yeah, he's gotten auto range for 2 range creep denies, which is huge. I think Excel, he just has a better knowledge of like creep usage than Omega's offlane does. Every time he's fighting them, he always has a creep advantage. The same thing in game 1. Look at Parker. He's just melted in lane waiting for them.
There is a sentry
It's so
there.
clowny.
Oh, that's some good stuff. And then what about this other side lane then? Mariana's got Stomp and towards Mingate. Shackle Lord with the Ink Swell. The Fairy Fire comes out. Mariana gets turned on. They're going to bring down the Centaur as Mingate's Mana Shield keeps him up and running. Magic Stick paying off big time as well.
I think they used both their mangoes onto the Dusa from the Grimstroke. I remember Eternal Envy used to do the Dusa build, 5 mangoes, and then he'd eat them all when he gets ganked. He would lose like 350 net worth and be awful, but he would be alive.
He'd be awful, but alive.
Yeah. It's really depressing seeing your carry have 0 items, but you know, if it works, it works.
Don't mind me.
Sometimes just play for your levels. And then go back into jungle. How's that mid lane going then? Pretty close
Puck's
between the two of them.
pressuring Void Spirit right now. He got his bottle first, and now Void Spirit has to miss EXP in order to secure that water rune.
So advantage KXY.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Yeah, another deny coming out as well. Can you get the range creep? Jimari secures it. And for the most part, just waiting for the runes, wait for level 6s on those two, and see what they actually get up to. Michael doing some real nasty stuff top lane. He's got the mana burn creep. Saturn Mind Stealer. Mangate not happy about this anymore. Where are my mangoes now?
Radiant's courier has been killed.
And they've gotten
What's your favorite creep to get as Ench?
the Harpy creep.
Oh yeah, the lightning one?
Yeah, I think Harpy, Satyr, Ursa are the 3 best creeps. I think Excel, they had some good communication from Infamous. I think Faker, he communicated that he's pressuring this Void Spirit. So Excel went over and took his bounty rune. Now Void Spirit's sort of gonna go over there, and he's not gonna have anything there. He's gonna feel really bad.
Oh, very nice. So then the puck can fall back on the one on the left side. It looks like Jim Murray is actually wandering over there.
That was a good play.
Yeah,
He used a glyph. He used a glyph to like keep the creeps in the puck's tower so he can steal his bounty rune. Just a really good response.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, Demon was also over there scouting that bottom bounty rune, guarding the water rune bot as well. So they do the exact same thing back onto KXY. Make sure there's no bottle refill, and it looks like it's the return to Fountain for the puck.
That was
Well,
really
Tiny
good from Omega.
tosses Axel back into the creep camp. Yeah, he'll be alright with a salve. Looked a little bit close there, getting hairy for Tiny, but Gyrocopter not able to keep on little Rockman. And Shackle Lord was killed off by Michael. Troll with a net. Impetus hits.
I think the worrying thing right now is that Dusa only has 13 CS, and they don't have the creep wave equilibrium. Centaur can just stand here with his ring of health and tank this Dusa, and just get every CS and deny. It's sort of what I was worried about. If the Centaur Enchantress snowballs too hard on your Dusa, it can really spill over onto the other lanes.
I mean, Centaur's doing more damage to this Medusa than she is to him. She's got to turn on Mana Shield every time she hits into level 2 Retaliate.
I think
So if
normally
Enchantress
this...
Centaur are already winning that top lane, do you want Ench to start playing elsewhere? Are you talking about that lane bleed, or do you just keep
Nah,
pummeling
you should
that top lane?
you should keep snowballing. You should identify that in this draft, Omega needs Dusa to do really well. I think Omega sort of failed to do that. I think once they lost the creep wave equilibrium, they really need to bring Tiny up there. This Dusa, she's not going to play Dota if she's this far behind.
Yeah, it might genuinely be jungle time already for Megate. Get
Yeah,
level
Centaur
5,
almost
go
is
jungle.
Vanguard.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
And a
normally this
catapult wave
matchup-
here.
Normally this matchup's not that bad, but if you add in the Enchantress and maybe a little bit of outplay, even with that first blood, it just looks really rough for Dusa.
Now Michael arrives back in the lane with a Hellbear. Try and keep that catapult alive for that next wave coming, so it looks like Mariano should be able to shove a little bit better. Yeah, the question around Demon's Tiny is it's always going to be asked. You know, at the major we saw Tiny go what, like 4-20 or something. Every
Yeah,
single
it was-
win was a core Tiny. Support Tiny just didn't do very well at all.
Yeah, it was a
rough
rough one
time.
for Tiny. And one thing going for Omega is that Jamari, he gets the rune here, so now he has the resource advantage top lane though.
Yeah, they just kill off Megate. That was Omega trying to play aggressively with Inkswell, but Demon's Tiny coming a little bit late to the party, tries to toss back the Centaur. Okay, Jimari's rotation will secure it, but trading out Centaur for Medusa is always going to feel pretty good for Infamous.
Plus the TP, now you have pressure on mid lane. I gotta say, I think that was a little bit poorly communicated from Omega. This Void Spirit managed to 50-50 the region rune. I think it should have translated to him being the one to TP top. If he TP's top and they make the move onto the center, they would have killed him for free, and Tiny would have got to get EXP mid. Instead, now it's just awkward. This mid tower is just taking 1,000 damage for free, and then you lose your carry just because you're TPing the wrong heroes, not making the move with enough power.
And
Classic pause.
so that comes down to communication, or is that down to Demon on the Tiny should have been somewhere first,
I think
leading
it's
to that kind of move?
I think it's on communication, but it's also on like Jamari a lot, because if you get something that makes you stronger than your current state, like he gets a regen rune, right? It's sort of your responsibility to inform your team that like you have potential to do something extra,
For attack.
because like it's hard for your team to know that he can rotate because he got this regen rune. At the
Like,
same
when
time, like
something... Yeah, go
at
on.
the same time, Mingate, he needs to communicate how bad this lane is for him, right? Like if he's talking, this lane's really hard, and Void Spirit gets a regen rune, all of a sudden your comms has led to like some conclusion that, hey, we should change the state of the map. This Dusa needs help. And then now it's like a free flow into, okay, I can TP because I got a regen rune. Now I kill Centaur, it doesn't hurt my game because I have regen, and we're all good.
So constantly thinking about how you're tipping the scales, how to kind of upset the status quo if you've got that opportunity to.
Yeah,
Mingate,
exactly.
what, treads level 5, bottom of the net worth in terms of cores. I'm trying to chase the Centaur around, but Michael, again, this Enchantress, just playing that kind of floating role in between lane and lane in that jungle area top. Very difficult to latch on to where this Ench is exactly, and they're trying to make a play mid around the DD rune. Jimari grabs it, but homing missiles and a coil onto Tiny means Demon's all caught up around that tier 1 mid area. Jimari does step forward with the DD onto Axel, but they dispel it off. Michael's there to get rid of the double damage rune. Now Jimari, oh, they're pretty low on mana. KXY is going to try and pop the wand and keep it going, but Resonant Field and Jimari, Void Spirit slipping away with another Astral Step. The Impetus shot, it doesn't finish him off. They still want him real bad, but he's bottled up enough. Oh, he's walked back into the Wild Wing. He's got to step away from that because Omega running out of gas in that mid lane. Tiny's going to respawn and TP in. TA's got a trap coming in as well as Parker arrives into mid for a one hit onto Shackle Lord. Nothing Demon can really do to alleviate the pain that's coming in their way.
Classic pause.
And nothing you can do when he disconnects as well.
And you can sort of see the spillover from top lane. Michael was level 6 on Enchantress at 8 minutes. That's insanely high level for support. The one thing that Omega does have going for them right now, though, is that Sand King already has his Blink Dagger. It's a very early Blink Dagger, and anyone he epicenters this game should die.
So the weight of the world is on his shoulders.
Yeah, I think last game Omega sort of suffered because they had their one timing in the game, the Blink Dagger on Tiny, and they weren't able to really make moves with it. So we'll sort of see if they've like sort of talked about that this game and made that adjustment.
Who does the Sand King want to play with? Is this like a Sand King Grimstroke goes and smokes? The
They
trio
should-
of them?
They should bring the Void Spirit. They should go one support plus Sand King plus Void Spirit, and then the other support should take a lane. That's like the most... I think between like 8 and 10 minutes before your supports have ultimates, you should join up your cores. Like between 5 and 8 minutes, your supports sort of want to play together because they still have like presence on the map. But as soon as all the cores get ultimates and start getting items, like you don't have enough damage if you just go 2 supports in a core.
And I guess then you're leaving that open sort of vacuum for the Medusa to farm a little bit safer. You create that barrier in front of her if you're grouping up as a couple of cores plus a support.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you just brought up, actually. If you want your Dusa to farm this game, you can't just sit behind her and have her farm. She's too far behind for that. You need to make aggressive plays so that she has more information, so she can take like faster farming areas that maybe are a little bit more risky. Like say you like force some TP's top, all of a sudden Dusa gets to farm, drag the wave to some neutral camps and farm both, right? And you've caught up your Dusa 200 gold. You'll never win Dota if you're just sort of on the back foot all the time. Just pauses.
Then the question starts to.
Sorry, go ahead.
The question starts to be like, where does Tiny find Blink? Like, what time do you reckon Demon's gonna actually get his Blink Dagger in this one?
Yeah, so if the
20 minutes?
Void Spirit, Sand King, and Grimstroke go together, then all of a sudden Tiny has a lane, right? Like if nothing happens, like he's not gonna get Blink for a long time. But if you can connect your 3 heroes and sort of give them space, you're not only making space for Dusa, you're also giving space to Tiny. And then once he has his timing, he sort of cycles in, and then you got a flow of Dota going where you're actually playing the game.
Otherwise, it's just Infamous just casting spells on you, puck coiling you, TA farming and pushing out towers. It seems like KXY getting a little bit frantic there with his map drawing. He just wants to get back into some Dota too. Are you a big fan of Centaurs going Vanguard, Hood, Brown Boots before Blink?
No, I think it's really bad. I think if you get Vanguard and Hood, it has to be because you're playing like Seb and like you're pushing forward towers just because you need both items. I don't think getting both makes sense unless you have a purpose. Just get a faster blink and make plays.
Do you speak any Spanish? I
No,
understand
I
the word
don't.
internet there.
I also
We
got
did
that
have
one. That's
we
all
did
I
have
got though.
D-Flash. Oh, I lost internet in his entire city earlier on for the first best of 3. So we
Really?
had to wait. Yeah, we had to wait a good 15 minutes. They used up all 10 minutes of their reserve time, pause time, plus 5 minutes of their opponents that got given to them as well.
Did you see
He
the
was.
game where Nemaga won 4v5?
I didn't. I saw it pop up on Reddit though. Someone microed the fifth
Yeah,
player, right?
they're mid disconnected at like 3 minutes. Like not even just a support. They're mid
Oh,
DC'd.
jeez.
And they just like the line just ran around with his mid Pangolier and killed everyone and they won 4v5. It was really fun to watch.
Oh, that's bonkers. I asked Eben the same thing. Have you ever had one of your pro games go like that, like back in Dota 1 or Dota 2, where you just lost a player and you have to try and win 4v5?
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Ever
So,
happened to you, like in the DDoS days?
um, I can't remember. I remember once HFN. When I was playing with him on Cat Jammers, he disconnected because he lags a lot in USC. So his disconnection restart and he hit the abandon button because there was a bug if you
Oh
clicked it too
no.
fast. And he
Yeah.
abandoned the game, and then we had to play versus Quincy 4v5 or something. That was a rough one. We lost.
Oh, that's a difficult one to handle. Well, we can only hope that he comes back. Because it was a pretty awkward time to disconnect as well, right under your tier 1 as it collapses to Infamous.
Yeah.
And now
I want to comment one thing that Infamous did really well that I like this game too. It's that Parker. I mean, you guys sort of mentioned he's a bit of a wild card right now. But I think his timing on when he left the safe lane was really good, just to remove like Omega's chance at making plays. As soon as Sand King hit like 6 or 7, he sort of has kill threat on TA because he can just like stun Sandstorm Epicenter. Instead he rotates and then he like comes to this mid play and he adds to his team. It's a really good play by him.
And it often feels like a natural move for these TAs, Deuces, Lunas to kind of leave bot lane 7-8 minutes in, clear some jungle camps, kind of meander towards mid, and then it gives you more options, right? Because if you're Radiant team here with a carry in the safe lane, your one option is farm bot and then think about TPing. But if you're kind of walking towards mid, then you think about, can I go triangle? Can we play aggressively into enemy triangle? Can we think about sneaking a Roshan at this point?
Yeah,
Opens
for
up the map
sure.
to you really nicely.
Honestly, I think one of the biggest decisions for carry players right now is actually when to leave your safe lane. Because all the things you said are true. Like leaving it at the right time does give you a lot of good options. But if you leave it too early, sometimes it can let the offlaner come back into the game or have them like power farm too hard. So I think this game he struck a really good balance. Like he won his lane, but he wasn't stubborn about staying there.
I guess especially when your two supports have just completely ditched you. You know, Gyro and Enchantress, they're trying to be more forceful with their
Yeah,
movements out on the map.
for sure. And you can sort of imagine like in a game where he stays there and he's really stubborn about it, and Omega make a play on him, all of a sudden like you're TPing all your heroes to your safe lane to try to save him. And all this pressure you have on the map is gone. Deuce is gonna catch up. She's gonna get too far in lane crease that she shouldn't, accelerate her farm, and your map suddenly doesn't look good. These decisions, like
That's
they
right.
seem small, but they actually end up meaning a lot in Dota.
Do you think that's their main goal right now is to try and stop Medusa from farming while keeping their TA going? Like the other 4 heroes just chase Medusa around?
I think right now they should focus on getting map control. I think this is more relevant when you play against Alchemists, but a lot of teams, especially when they like the old OG Alchemists, they would just try to chase the Alchemist around, and it would never lead to anything. How you beat these heroes that farm really fast is you get enough map control where it turns like the scenario changes in that you can chase them around like more freely. Like you can't skip that step.
Sorry, I'm just watching Axel draw on the minimap. he's gonna get a warning from someone, that's for sure. Deary me. He's getting a little bit bored there. But yeah, I guess
You wanna
next
play some tic-tac-toe?
yeah, we can. No, we both go for the X in the middle,
Wait,
huh?
it works weird. I don't know what's happening.
It kind of scribbles when you
Yeah.
yeah. I see it perfectly. I see your drawings perfectly, but you see
Okay.
your own ones as like scribbles. Yeah, it's
Really?
really weird.
Okay. Is that because of the pause?
No,
Did
it's
somebody
just
say
it's
podcast?
just how it is. Oh, hello, Zayori.
Oh, hello, mates. 9 minutes in,
Is
4-2. Looks like a
yeah,
rousing
yeah.
game.
Is tic-tac-toe a solved game? So I remember reading
It is a
recently.
solved game.
I
It is a
think you
solved
go
game
for the
because
corners, right? The middle's the bait.
No, I mean if
no,
both
you
people
go for
know how to
mid build,
play,
right?
then it's always a
It's a
tie,
draw.
no matter how you
Yeah,
start.
it's a draw like
Oh.
99.99% of the time. There's also, goddamn, what's that game called? With this Go with the little circles you place on a grid. I feel like I was reading something about that where they've got AI to solve that game as well, and like 9 times out of
No,
10 they
I mean
defeat human players.
Go. They reached a part where the computers are better than humans, which is like really impressive because of the complexity of the game. But it's not like technically solved. Like
Oh, okay.
solved means like there's always a correct move. Like if you play checkers, it's a solved game. There's always a correct move to play. Like chess is like technically not solved, but I think it's like sort of almost solved, where the computers always beat the players no matter what. Like they're getting to that point, but technically, I guess it's not.
I'm really bad
I-
at chess.
I
Did you
believe
play
you.
it at school?
It's a hard game.
It's a cool game. I appreciate the hell out of it, but I just can't wrap my brain around it. It's like it really blows my mind how people are so amazingly good at chess. And I know that's weird as somebody who's spent like 10,000 hours playing and watching competitive Dota. And I'm sure there's a lot of chess players that feel the same way about Dota, but it's funny how that works.
I think one of my favorite things is actually taking concepts from games like chess and trying to apply them to Dota. And you can see like the levels of expertise, like how humans just develop their ideas, sort of stay relevant despite what game it is. Like
It is
there's like
true.
there's like something called like a pawn advantage. Like you have like 2-on-1s in the end game. And it's basically thinking about it made me think about like how if you have like resource disparities in Dota, you can put like similar amounts of pressure and you want to bring more things to that area of the map. Like for example in the last game, the Beastmaster, you have a resource disparity where Beastmaster clearly is stronger than the other heroes. So what Infamous did really well is like they had an advantage there and they compounded that advantage by bringing more heroes.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty big brain stuff. You're putting into context that I'm really just a hype man at heart, Curtis.
I guess it also works like another layer on that, right? Where the enemy sees your disparity in resources and they want to try and remove it, so they come to
Pawns?
focus that Beastmaster.
Yeah, for sure, for
And
sure.
they
It's like
bring numbers to deal with it, and you counter with more numbers than they brought.
yeah, I mean, at its core, Dota is a more dynamic game than chess is. It's not like chess is super easy or anything. It's a super hard game, but Dota just has more moving factors and you have hidden information and stuff. So we're actually playing some Dota 2.
Oh yeah,
Poggers?
it's happening. I think chess definitely has that intensity of, one move matters so much. Get some forced errors going.
So they're smoking out here. They've brought everyone to the smoke. I think they might be feeling desperate where they just need some big fight to come in. This is a really good smoke path though.
Yeah, to find the TA with a Blink Burrow, catching out Parker with a Remnant and Epicenter. Everybody here in that radiant triangle. Kill off the TA while it looks like Infamous still lurking in that top jungle with KXY and Michael ready to catch any stragglers. I think that lane ward has seen them up in the top spot. They know Centaur was up there. Radiant even trying to scan to see anyone coming. A very good move from Omega.
Unlike last game, Omega were able to sort of get their first play off their big Blink Dagger timing. I'm curious to see if they can sort of chain that into getting advantage. Because they did kill the top net worth from Infamous, but because Pepita is just so farmed, like they actually lost gold during that as he took the tower.
Yeah, it's like gold and map pressure, right? Tier 1 mid and top going means that Roshan belongs to the TA team, which is something that obviously we always favor for that.
And I think they sort of need Epicenter just because they're sort of behind in levels. Like their supports are only level 5 right now, even though it's closing in on 11 minutes. So if they don't have Epicenter, they're not going to have enough damage to take down Infamous's heroes right now.
And Enchantress is playing that almost Beastmaster-esque style, right? Playing in top jungle with creeps. You're scouting out and process of elimination, just removing areas of the map that the Dire can even play into.
Yeah, she's doing that like Beastmaster, and she's also sort of forming a wall for Templar Assassin. Like if you look at the smoke pass that they took, like they can't do that anymore if Enchantress is playing aggressive like this.
And that's why they're all grouped up down bottom. Sand King sat behind the Void Spirit. Everyone comes down.
I like what Omega are doing here. They don't have any natural tower push, so they have to use their wagons. If they don't use their wagons, they're never going to get a tower, just like last game.
No one's going to come defend this, though. You've got 4 heroes all committed to killing off a tower, and then you look at the opposing side, 4 heroes farming for Infamous, so still accelerating very quickly. Mengate did get to clear through Triangle, though. I didn't see, was that Ancient Camp stacked at all?
Sorry, I didn't see either.
We'll just assume it was a 1-stack. Mengate now, what, 5,000 net worth.
He has caught up pretty well.
It's just like that next move, right? Like, where do you go? Back into Triangle to clear out 2 camps? Because that line drawn is literally what I was thinking right now. Mengate can only play to the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, I think pretty much he just wants to cycle between any lane plus a triangle. If he's feeling really confident, you can like slither down to bottom and sort of get a little bit of extra farm. But right now, Omega, they have Epicenter again. I think they're looking to smoke. They don't have any smokes on them though. But they need someone to respond to their bottom pressure so that they can sort of create an imbalance on the map and get some kills. Oh, good jump mid.
Yeah, good bit of burst onto Axel. KXY wants the coil on the Sand King though, so trying to trade out support for core. But that Soulbind toss and the arrival of Jamari means the jumping KXY Puck's demolished. Demon gets the takedown. Michael looks like a step too far. Level 8 Enchantress, dishing out some serious damage with the medallion and impetus shots. Can't finish off the Tiny. And another nice bit of room here for that Medusa to clear out that bottom lane. Keeping it competitive, keeping themselves in the game.
Yeah, I think Omega, they've done a lot of a better job of sort of consolidating their heroes and making plays with them this game than they did last one. Dusa, even though she had such a rough start, she is catching up. I mean, I think TA might be slightly out-farming her because I think TA just farms faster than Dusa at this point in the game. Also, you can sort of compare like Dusa with Dragonlance instead of like a Yasha or Mask of Madness. But now this is like the really scary part where TA, they just go for Roshan on Infamous.
And then they force your hand, like, come and do this. Come and defend Roshan. Let's see what you've got. And then you're fighting into Call Down and Coil, and, well, Jamari just walks straight into the middle of all that burst damage. You probably can't even think about what's happening in the pit right now because they're so focused on dealing with lanes. Roshan's already dead. Enchantress with a Centaur Creep is tanking it up. This is pretty important from Omega. Aegis on TA usually means your tier 2s are going to start falling, but if you can kill off the Puck here, they see KXY. Good catch with the burrowing swell. Down you go.
Really good execution on that. That was an important kill. I think one of the things about Aegis that I always like to think... Oh. Okay, whatever. Pause is classic. One of the things I like to think about with Aegis is that after you kill Aegis, generally your lanes are going to push into you. Like we saw they killed the Aegis, but top lane was all the way pushed in. And this is because you're basically killing a giant neutral creep in the middle of the map, right? Like he gives you a lot of rewards, but at the end of the day, you're committing resources to something that doesn't help your map state right away. So because Centaur had to show top and push this lane out, they were like able to smoke and pick off the Radiant heroes while they're trying to get their lanes and map state into a good position. If you don't make that play and kill the Puck, I think your map's going to collapse around you. Now, since the Puck is dead, you're going to push in more lanes, and you can actually like sort of either dodge the Aegis or like look to take good fights.
It's also like timing it around the rune spawn, right? Like Jamari gets the Arcane rune after getting the kill, and they know they can go for round 2 with Epicenter still ready.
Yeah, that's a good point. Securing these runes is really important this game. Anytime you have a Void Spirit versus Puck.
Desperately need it. And they're getting closer to Demon's Blink Dagger. 800 gold away, so it's probably not going to be the sad 20-minute blink on Pos4 Tiny. He probably has it in a couple of minutes if he's given a lane to farm.
Yeah, they've really just brought this game back in general, right? Like they were down 5k, and now they're only down 2k because of these like good moves they've made. One thing I have to criticize about Infamous here, though, is the reason why they're able to make that move on Puck is because he's a hero without Aegis who's taking like a more dangerous part of the map. You can sort of imagine the picture, like if you get an Aegis, generally you're supposed to take the dangerous areas because you have a second life. Like TA, after he killed Roshan, he just walked into this triangle and farmed some safe area. Instead, if he had been the one pushing mid, all of a sudden it shuts down Omega's like ability to make these moves.
And I guess also the fact, like you said, Centaur pushed out top, so Puck's Puck's option was like TP bot and shove wave, or try and go get a rune, or move down towards bottom into that dark corner of the map, which is covered really nicely with dire vision right now. Like they see into the triangle on the left, they see on that bottom rune spot.
Alright, I lied. It's still 5k. It was just because someone was DC'd.
Oh, really?
I was
wow,
very confused that they brought back 3k and 1 pickoff, but I just said it.
Well, maybe a little bit more here as Axel dies mid. Jimari's Arcane Rune coming into play. Shakalord, though, dying to this Michael Enchantress. Good toss and an Inkswell coming through. Should catch out the Ench, and Shakalord gets the killing spree off of him.
Yeah, really good snowballing after initial pickoffs. They do have the Blink Dagger on Centaur, but he got this item, and similarly to what happened to Omega Game 1, so they got their timing, but they're losing heroes on the map, so this Blink Dagger doesn't immediately lead into anything.
So now you're waiting for people to respawn. Okay,
yeah, like he wants...
was being eyed up bottom.
He really wanted to go that voice for mid, but they just don't have the heroes for the play.
Yeah, now they see the puck, and they make the jump. Lissix with a burrow. Demon tries to avalanche, but the toss won't come in time. And there's Mariano with a stomp onto the Sand King. Coil onto Tiny. They're catching heroes one by one, but lacking in the damage department a little bit. I mean, Demon should die in the end here, but it's very thankful for Omega. Lissix and Jamari both slip away.
Just a little bit off on the comms there. If Void Spirit's like 500 range and wait a couple seconds, I think they could have connected that and killed Puck there. It would have been a huge kill. Instead, like, they sort of get reset on the map and they're losing top tower for free.
And that's all meant to amount into that mid lane push as well. They want that tier 1 real desperately. 500 HP remains. But yeah, like you said, top lane tier 2 gone. Outpost opens up for the Radiant. And they can start playing in towards that mid tier 2, but a good catch again. The Remnant into Burrow. KXY found by that level 3 Phantom's Embrace to silence her up. Mariano Blink stomps Jamari. We don't have to simulate for a second or so. Homing missile should get dodged out, and he's back to high ground. He'll survive for now, but Axel, he's found a long way around. Good hits from Michael, stampede forward, and they finally get the kills that they've been deserving for a long time.
Such good play from the 5-position Gyrocopter, just coming in at a different angle, using the full potential of this hero. I think Gyrocopter traditionally, like, you don't think of him as a hero that's very useful from the 5 position for team fights later on, but if you get the wraparound like that, you can certainly change the game.
Yeah, like they've already spent all their spells, nothing left on the Void Spirit, just land the cooldown on him. It has been a little bit slow here from Omega to get this Medusa up and running, but I guess Manta Style is nearly done, and that's when she starts to hit her stride. Do you reckon it's going to be enough? Like, can she stand her ground against this TA, this Puck even?
I think not for a very long time. I think this game still looks pretty hard for Omega, but they are playing a lot better than in Game 1. I feel like Dusa regrets a bit going for this Dragonlance before Manta Style. I feel like she'd have an extra maybe 700 gold if she went Manta first, and she would have provided her team with a better map state to make plays. Dragonlance is sort of like a snowball item, right? Illusions. Yeah, just spamming Manta.
Oh, double step onto Axel. Mariano's looking for the Blink Stomp, and he'll get it onto Jamari. No spells remaining, everything's on cooldown, but they don't get the finishing blow. In comes the Burrow Epicenter, and KXY gets shredded by Lissix. Now the Medusa's able to fight, but the Templar Assassin, just a couple of hits to dispatch with the Void Spirit and the Grimstroke. Grabs a double kill while Mariano burrowed through in towards Parker. Lissix, not really too much to give, just has to blink away from the Meld Strike and a toss away. The defensive play from Demon, he'll sacrifice himself to save the Medusa. But you see the strength of this Parker TA now, a triple kill coming through for him.
Yeah, he had a double meld minus armor onto that Void Spirit, so his last meld just one-shot him. Like, I think it's 600 damage in one meld. Very scary to play against. The Void Spirit also initially lived because TA had an uphill miss, just a classic. And most importantly in this game, yeah, he had an uphill miss. Most importantly, they got a Philly Stone, very imba item. Now I think the Radiant Gyrocopter, he's just gonna be able to actually get items while still buying all the support.
Oh yeah, that's huge for him. What do you reckon he buys? Because he bought that fluffy hat, but we see that against Tiny all the time. Against nuke damage, it's pretty good. Like, does he go Glimmer? Does he think about Locket? What does Gyro 5 want to buy?
If Enchantress isn't finishing Solar Crest, he should probably get that.
Okay. Oh yeah, Ench with Dragonlance queued up the pipe, but hello Jimari. A blink stomp. Can he get off and dissimulate? He can. Off to the right-hand side, but the Stampede is coming. They'll gap close towards him. Great Remnant and Inkswell gets Jimari out of the reach of the Radiant. They'll have to take the Courier.
That was a big Courier, though. It had a Sanjin Kaya on it, so I don't think he's very happy with that, despite surviving.
Oh, he's holding the Ogre Belt. Oh, no. Oh, this high ground hold from Infamous. Mingate breaks vision up. Top of the staircase. Clears out the homing missile and a toss back. Axel's gyro. Once again, that hero left stranded by his team. So it looks like KXY and Parker, they get on top of Tiny, blow him up thanks to the coil and a two-man stop. Mariana's in. Soulbind won't connect to anyone. It feels like Omega here maybe overextending a little bit, but they're on top of Parker with the epicenter. Puck blows through Jimari thanks to Michael, and the BKB out from the TA. Make sure she's safe and sound. And these impetus hits in towards Shackle Lord. Gets a double kill for your Ench. Mingate, you can't fight against the Enchantress. You're just being demolished. The minus armor and the final stomp from Mariano secures that 5-man wipe.
Infamous have a lot of gold. TA's BKB comes to her in the middle of that fight, and I think she sort of looked like she was in trouble, but the Courier just brings at the perfect time to get to turn around, and that's just a wipe there.
Yeah, I looked at the TA thinking, oh god, she's about to die with that epicenter on her, but BKB beautifully delivered, and we go straight high ground with a catapult wave. 12k lead for Infamous, and Omega yet again in one of these positions where finding comeback opportunities limited to non-existent.
I think they did a lot of a better job this game about getting kills, grouping up their heroes, but I feel like Infamous just has a superior read on the map. How they're able to like sort of set up their heroes just led to them getting more farm. How do they itemize? Like Dusa went for like more of a fighting build despite being more behind, so she doesn't get to farm as fast. And as a result, even though the kills were close, Infamous just held a commanding lead this entire game.
And it feels like Infamous have 4 cores. Like I feel like I keep coming back to this Enchantress, but you know, TA is up at the top of net worth, expected. Centaur is in 2nd place because of the way Mariano just won the lane with the Ench. But I genuinely feel like this Enchantress with the Impetus Medallion is destroying people.
For sure, and it's just spillover from top lane, right? If you win the lane that hard, oftentimes like Enchantress was able to come mid, secure that tower, then all of a sudden Centaur and Enchantress are getting more than they should. And meanwhile, Omega, they have to consolidate all their map resources into giving farm to their Dusa. They don't get to have any other hero farming.
I mean, Tiny did finally get his blink. Oh, look at that. Lissax tried the blink burrow. Doesn't find anybody on the high ground. And now we have the regroup from Infamous. Mariano's going to spot out a couple of illusions coming his way. And the lane ward right in the middle of that mid lane sees the Sand King, watches the Tiny. And will be able to gather up in that dire triangle. Force Omega to play down here. His next step is going to be second Roshan, and if Infamous gets second Rosh, I feel like game is just over.
Yeah, it's looking really... They have to clutch something on Omega. They need like a 5-man Burrow Strike plus Inkswell or something to win these fights at this point. And I mean, these types of games, like, there always is potential for something like this, but again, like Infamous, it's just such a clean team, sort of on a different tier than Omega, it feels like, during the series.
I guess we're yet to see a proper Soulbind combo either.
Yeah, that's true. It hasn't come out at all.
They don't have the best spells to go into it, but even just like Soulbind Burrow might give you that 5-man Burrow that you want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I think Grimstroke this game, like, they weren't even picking it for the Soulbind, right? It's just like they felt last game like they lacked damage to kill heroes, so they ended up picking a lot of burst heroes. The problem is, like, once you get behind on these burst heroes, like, they could get pickoffs. They killed Puck a few times. They made some good moves, but eventually, like, your map is going to close out as soon as you can't burst heroes, and that's sort of what happened this game. The TA already has MKB. He's so farmed.
She's seen the quarterstaff in the Medusa's inventory and just been like, oh, you're going to go butterfly, are you? Was that a Sideblade splash off a Roshan?
Just 3 Sideblades just instantly killing a Grimstroke. It's just a little poor support trying to scout Roshan.
Oh, that's not where you want to be. And that was a DD rune at spawn bottom. If Infamous could scout that one out. go back up to high ground again.
I restore my connection to the void.
Yeah, they're just controlling the map so wonderfully. Push out mid with Axel. He doesn't care if he dies, if he gets caught, just wants to shove the lane. Connect with his boys up top as they take the outpost. And they'll break up towards high ground with his Aegis TA. Cheese over on the Centaur. And a Hellbear Smasher for that attack speed. This is probably the last team fight Omega has. They've got 2 buybacks. Medusa and Sand King can both come back into the fight. A good little Manta dodge there on the Mel Strike from Mengate. Also going to stop the tier 3 from immediately falling. I like that AoE heal visual coming out. The flowers from Michael. Blossoming beautifully there on that top lane. And slowly but surely, they're going to be able to push in mid and top. So you're spreading the efforts here for Omega's defense. So much comes down to Lissex on this Sand King now. Blink burrows. He runs back and forth. He's not quite sure what he wanted to do, but they break the Aegis. What's the defense plan here on the TA? Just walk away. I was maybe expecting the Tiny to jump and try and toss, but I guess you got BKB Templar Assassin, so not the best idea.
Honestly, really good for Omega, just breaking an Aegis like that. You sort of lose your win condition for a bit, because despite being 17k ahead, it doesn't feel that comfortable to just go high ground normally. As you mentioned, like maybe your TA gets tossed back into a Stone Gaze. Despite the BKB, all of a sudden you're fighting into tier 4s and the fight's not good for you.
Radiant are scanning.
I think a lot of it is... Sorry, go ahead.
Is that an indication of Omega feeling okay going later? Like if you're not making a drastic move like that, you're kind of thinking, we'll weather the storm.
Oh, like him not tossing TA back there?
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of a missed opportunity, personally. Okay. I think they should have taken the risk just because they're so far behind this game. Like in an even game, maybe you don't want to do it because your Sand King's already used Blink and Burrow Strike. But in this type of game, like you want to force Infants to mess up. The way you're going to win this game is if they mess up.
Well, Michael TPing onto that outpost, taking some serious damage from Mengate, but there is a Parker TA behind him, and the Ghost Scepters need it from the Grimstroke as they stampede forward, clearing through Shackle Lord, and a BKB TA under the Stone Gaze gets caught up, and Lissex, he's wanting this Epistemic, but he's got to use himself. He needs to get away from Parker as quickly as he can, but now that the BKB's ended, he gets the follow-through Burrow Epicenter. The Templar Assassin needs the Force Staff and the Refraction, saved by Michael, and gets the kill before falling. And now the chase onto the Medusa's on. Wise TP move there, because Mariano was coming.
See, there was a little fight around top as well. I think the Puck managed to coil him and bring him down. It was like really separated. You had like some TA and Enchantress fighting, and then you had he killed Gyrocopter, but then the Puck and Centaur turn around on him. They should go for a toss back here. Toss him back.
Oh, look at Mariano preempting it. He knew what was coming. Demon, there's the blink. Avalanche toss with the ink swell. It just blows straight through Parker. Not a chance to refract or anything. Now a 2-man soulbind. Mengate pushes them back, and the defense of the base successful by Omega as they didn't need to buy back. They respawn on the Void Spirit. And KX1 is still stuck behind the trees up in the north part. Oh, orbing, blinking. Lissak's not going to be able to find him. They might still catch him, but a good Waning Rift silence. A Demon. Not quite sure what was going on. Can't find the puck.
A really good targeting there. They immediately identified that Faker, Parker didn't have enough HP there, and they just instantly burst him. I think, honestly, a little bit rushed from Infamous, right? Like they had a numbers advantage. If they just waited to heal him up with some Enchantress heal or something like that, they could have just got high ground and broken base there. I think a lot of the reason why Infamous are having trouble right now is because I think Enchantress trying to go for damage when you already have high damage from your cores doesn't really make sense. Like if she had a mech and a Holy Locket, I think this game would just already be over and be like impossible for Omega to come back.
Yeah, you might be right. Michael trying to have some fun though.
He is having
MKB
fun.
Next. Oh, he's going to find a Curious Snipe. Yeah, I think the plan might have been, like Mariano preemptively jumped and looked for the stomp there. Maybe they were thinking the initiation would go on the Centaur, but they caught that glimpse of the TA. And they're going to have vision over them here as well. Dire Observer Ward sees the gyro. And that burst damage comes straight on top of Axel. He's not dead just yet, so a couple of spells get launched out as his cooldown will land, and Parker finds Lissex. Demon down, and the Stone Gaze from the Medusa needed to try and disengage, but this KXY Puck just finds another target. Yules into the air, magic damage galore, and Grimstroke with no real chance to escape as Michael starts pounding into him while they dissimulate. Jamari's looking to escape from KXY. Needs the astral step to get back to high ground, and we're in a 5v2 scenario with a couple of buybacks ready from Omega, but your base being cracked wide open yet again.
I think at this point, you don't want to use the buybacks unless you can have it lead into some kills. They don't have Tiny, so they don't have that tossback potential. They're probably just going to try to fight them on tier 4s here.
Do they have a glyph? No, they don't. Medusa needs to clear out these creep waves quickly.
I sort of like Deuce's build adjustment. One of the fights I thought, the Soulbind into Mystic Snake is actually not bad. And if you compound that with the Aghanims, it's actually a real combo. Like, you will stun them for 2+ seconds and have them take a lot of extra damage. They're even giving the Tome to Dusa so she can get her talent.
Real nice. Level 20 hit. In we go. Mystic Snake Mana Game talent grabbed. Ready to defend their base. 2 lanes down. Another smoke. Oh, the desperation from Omega. This is where Infamous, they are at their weakest. Spreading out, trying to maintain these lanes. Michael's pretty wide open bottom. But I'm not going to find anyone. Centaur Illusion scouts out Lissex. There's no Roshan to play into. And Parker, he's melded up in that top lane, just hiding.
Ooh, and he got the Enchanted Quiver. It's such a fun item for TA. You can sideblade like 2,500 range with all these items.
Just like one-shot the Grimstroke from a million miles away.
Oh, and Papita's managed to pick up the Aghanims on Centaur as well. It really makes it hard to play a burst lineup when you try to burst someone, they just get Aghanim stampeded.
Plus Glimmer on the gyro. Eon Disc nearly done. A little surprised Puck not going that direction as well, but I guess the Yule Scepter, the Aghanim Scepter, going to give much more opportunities there to actually catch enemy heroes. Lock them down for the Puck to do damage.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And that final tier 2 comes tumbling down. And Omega hemmed in their base for a long time as Roshan respawns in under a minute. So another pretty quick one there for Infamous.
And then Infamous are pretty happy just waiting until Roshan spawns. They understand that they don't have to fight into buybacks in the enemy base and like high ground and everything. They can just either get the Roshan or force a fight in open where they're more advantaged.
Jamari. Double Astral Step. Gets out the Resonant Pulse and a combo from Demon in towards Axel. But he had Glimmer. He has got Fluffy Hat. He's so tanky. And Michael comes through. One impetus shot takes down Demon. Grimstroke going to follow him. And Mariano's on top of the Medusa. KXY is in the back, forcing Lissex away. So no real initiation from the Sand King. And look at that damage coming through from the TA. Destroys Mingate. The additional Blink Stomp onto Jamari will find him with Michael's impetus hits. No buybacks from anyone else here on Omega, so we're going to have ourselves Medusa against the world. 1v5. Mingate, I don't know if you've got what it takes, because your tier 4s are dead and GG's called. Infamous with a very well-deserved victory, it feels like here. 2 pretty quick games, stomping out Omega.
Yeah, I think they just played really clean Dota. They just sort of outclassed Omega the series, right? I think Parker in both games, he was just so farmed on Templar Assassin, and it felt like there was nothing that anyone on Omega could do to combat that.
Yeah, it was a real rough one. Super hard for Omega, but Infamous, a class ahead. We'll take a quick break and return with the panel, which is us plus Zayori in just a couple of minutes.